Hi, my name's Justin Luis, and today I'm talking to Dylan Reeves about my debut album, Stolen. So this whole project really is about my complex, though once complicated, relationship with sex, and how that starts with the trauma, that starts with the childhood sexual abuse, but then really takes you on the journey, my journey, of reclaiming all of that. And that's been as good for me as it has been fascinating and terrifying and fun and exciting at the same time. And I'm excited for all of you to hear it. The very first track of this record is the title track, which is Stolen, a very special version of this song, which really is a recreation of the last time I played Stolen at Belcourt Taps. And that's a special place not just for me, but for a whole community of people, songwriters and non-songwriters alike, in Nashville. It was December 12th, 2021, which I still regard as one of the best years of my life. I was playing around with a few of my favorite people, my favorite artists in town. That was the evening that I felt that this song turned into more than what I just initially intended it to be. And as soon as I got off that stage, I think I decided that night that I wanted to capture that. This song in general was the song that got me pursuing music in Nashville in the first place. This was never the plan. I'm extremely happy with that process. The way that I was able to go about that, because of a whole bunch of people who have helped me out and who have been a part of that process, to have them be a part of something so important and so special and so close to me, that's more than I could have ever asked for. And so it was really important for me to be able to capture that evening into a re-release of this song that I feel has turned into much more than it was originally intended for. Now, song number 2 sounds very different from the first one. We really shift gears here because we do skip ahead into much later in my life, in which I feel really this process of reclaiming and rediscovering begins. Subconsciously, granted, initially, and how it mostly just all came out as irregular fears and anxieties, I guess, related with any sort of intimacy. And how, in this case, finding something or someone that makes you feel safe enough to take those chances really starts you or puts you in the right trajectory to begin that journey of reclaiming everything. And that was a really, really important step for me. Song number 3 is called Behind Closed Eyes, and I like calling this one my anti-Stolen. This is the first co-write of the record. I co-wrote this one with one of my best friends in town, Natasha Blaine, and this really was a deliberate attempt to lay down a positive sexual experience within a relationship. And that was important for me to do for a variety of reasons. One would be that truly was where I found my first positive sexual experience. It was within a relationship. And like I said earlier, that set me on the right trajectory to make sure that I was able to reclaim this, instead of it turning to a big destructive thing that I maybe was or wasn't aware of. And secondly, would be actually reclaiming a lot of the things that happened in that first song, in Stolen. If you listen to a lot of the lines that Natasha sings to me, I'll take you by your hands and I'll tell them where to go. Your wish is my command, and I respond with yes, ma'am. These are all, like, on the surface, like, fun, sexy lines, but if you look close enough, they're the exact same things that are happening in Stolen. But within the context of consent, it completely changes the experience for me, because I'm deciding to be part of that now. And that was a very important distinction to make. Space and Time is about aftercare. It's about staying in bed and cuddling and talking and really exploring all of the intricacies and nuances of each other from within this space that was just provided by sharing such an intimate and vulnerable experience, where it feels like time stops for a little while. I wrote this one with Fiona Mora, who's also one of my best friends in town, who I absolutely adore. And This second verse is, I feel, one of my favorite verses I'd ever written. And writing this the way that we did was important to me because I feel that sex really is more than just the physical act. The eroticism of desire before and after the time spent actually exploring each other's bodies is incredibly essential to me. And I'm happy to have written it with someone who understands that and who is as insightful as she is incredibly talented. And I feel like people who know us both are going to listen to this song and it's going to be very clear that this was a co-write between Fiona and I. It's whimsical and metaphorical, and it kind of sounds like a nice little lullaby that you would sing to someone within that space. And that's what we wanted, so I'm glad we got there. If Behind Closed Eyes was my Auntie Stolen, then this next song, Stranger Than a Fool, is my Auntie No Match for You. And what I mean by that is that No Match for You was all about the hesitation and the fear and being able to get through all of that because of someone else and because you find yourself in this space in which you feel safe enough to get through all of that, which is important. However, I feel like it was equally important for me to write about the point in my life in which I felt that I could deliberately make that decision for myself, in which I didn't have to find that safety and that peace in someone else from within the context of a very specific definition of what a relationship should be. And I feel if No Match for You set the stage for Behind Closed Eyes in Space and Time, Stranger Than a Fool sets a stage for the next two songs in the album, in which I feel I am able to explore and have fun and focus on the things and try to figure out what I do like, instead of just focusing on how to deal with the things that I don't. I like jokingly calling Tied Down my song about my toe phase. And that's not untrue. However, I think it's an oversimplified version of what I actually wrote that song for. And I think I wrote that to make two main points. One is that exploring sex can be fun, and it should be fun, provided that everything is done within the context of consent and within the context of safety and within the context of open communication between both of you or everyone involved. And as long as that's the case, then you are free to explore. And secondly, I think it was also important for me to write about sex outside of the context of a relationship and how casual sex doesn't have to be cheap sex. And then I think that's a common misconception. Peaches and Cream. This is about eating ass. So I don't know what else you want me to say about that. This last song, Waves, is more than anything a song of gratitude. It is a thank you from me to everyone who has made space for all of this and for all of me, really. So if Stolen was the song that helped me acknowledge and really set me on the course of exploring this specific thing that happened to me, Waves, I think, says, I'm manning the ship now, and I'm looking across the seas and I see so many other things about myself that I would love to explore. And because of these last few years of truly making sense of this, I have so much gratitude for everyone who has created the space and made this all possible, whether directly or indirectly, by actually working on this project with me. And I have so many incredibly talented and incredibly kind people to thank for that, or people who have come to shows, or people who are listening through halfway across the world. That's been a huge part of all of this. And this whole process was years of unlearning as much as it was learning, and I am incredibly excited for everything else there is to learn and unlearn in the future. Thank you all so much for lending us the time today. Stolen in its entirety will be out on December 12th, and I'm so excited for all of you to hear it.